Hey and welcome. So Chuck's guide is out for the F4 Phantom and we're going to do a little bit of a night flight this morning, early morning, so we can see some of the night lighting, which is really awesome in this F4 Phantom by Heatblur. So we'll jump in the cockpit and as you can see we can't see anything. So unless you know where to click, which is probably quite difficult, what we're going to do is just hold down left Alt and L on the keyboard to bring up my flashlight, and the first thing you want to do is go over here to the white flub. Medium console light doesn't do anything at this point, but you'll notice that if you hit white flood, you got lights. So we've got nothing started, but we've got lights. Cool. So once you got that, then you can start doing your startup process. I'll go a little bit quicker in this video. The previous one I explained things a bit more, but we're turning on these three switches here because I need to get that out of the way. I'm turning on these two left and right for the engine master. Just going up to here on the oxygen and on. And then taxi light and anti-skid. Okay, so we've got all that out of the way. I'm then going to release the detents for the throttle. So we've got that. And what we're trying to do in this mission is what I'm going to load on. If we go and have a look, here is some Mavericks. I'm going to use the Maverick D, AGM-65D. I'm just putting two of them on board. So we'll let that get started and I'll just choose a random livery that we can find in here and click OK.
Request rearming.
Great. So that's out of the way. I'm going to keep doing my startup. So we're just going to go over to here, transmit receive, change that to transmit receive and put on a helmet. And we'll just also go over to here and change this one to NOR. So that one is done as well. Now, if you notice if I turn the lights off, that happens. And if I turn on this, you can get a red light now. So somewhere of those steps that I just did is letting me turn on the red light. I'm not sure which, but if you put on medium and dim, it doesn't work. Just the full brightness does at this point in time. So that's just interesting.
Rearming complete.
Down here I can't see anything, so I'm just going to turn on the flashlight so I can see those two switches. I just put them on to bright, and that's out of the way. This console and instrument panels have just got on full bright. If you turn console down and then turn that, there's nothing. Yeah, so later you'll notice this becomes more relevant because you can actually use this. But just early on it doesn't seem to do much. There's just no way you can adjust the brightness at this time. Like see, there's nothing. I lost the button. Now we got it back. Cool, I can see what I'm doing. And then we'll keep getting our plane started. So I'm just going to bring up quickly this. Go to the ground chief, wheel chocks, remove in the dark.
Roger.
Now I can't start the next process. I completely confirmed. If you try and do the request for him to put in the cartridges, it just doesn't work. He can't handle both tasks at once. You have to wait for him to finish all his talking.
Have a good flight.
Yeah, when he finally shuts up, you can click on the air source, load start cartridges.
Roger.
Now he'll do it. So yeah, if you did it before that, before he stopped talking, it just doesn't work from what I'm testing. I've tried a few times. So yeah,
cartridges loaded, sir.
That's all ready to go. So now we can do the next steps. Now I just want to change this, make sure they're both on full right. Just right click, right click.
Are we going for?
W, I'm just doing left control and 3 for HDG memory alignment.
Stored heading.
If you start moving the plane doesn't move. You can go back here, which he hasn't got any lights on at the moment, and you can fix it by going down to here. So basically turn everything to off, hit this switch, and then go to standby, wait for the red light. Once you get the red light, then you can go and flick it to the next option, which is align, and then when the green light flashes you can flick it again to nav and you finish. So you can reset it basically, but you have to turn it to off and then switch to off. We'll close the lid and then start again. Open the lid, click that switch, go to standby, wait for the red light, then go to align, and then you're waiting for the main alignment, and then when you got the green light you can put it to nav. So that's all that's happening if you have an alignment which isn't working. I have tested it, that's working, so yeah, that's all good. So let's go get this plane started. I'm just going to turn off my light and we're going to hit actually we'll just leave it on for a second because I'm just hitting the switch down here. So our detents are out, so just right click and then put it on right ignition, bring it forward, 1, 2, 3, bring it back, and then left click for the left engine, put it on left ignition, bring it forward, 1, 2, 3, and then bring it back, and then you can turn the ignition off, and that's it, plane started. So that's all done. We're just waiting for the plane to start now. And then once this gets started, we'll, yeah, see now we've got our controls and it's operational, like I was saying before. So that's all good.
Generators up.
This,
I can start the alignment.
yeah, okay, Jester. So we go to W and then we go to, yep.
Roger that.
And I do believe I closed the canopy, but no, we haven't. The canopy switch I've found is here. So basically just clicking here somewhere, that little slider switch, and then it brings it closed. I don't need to use left control and C anymore. That's all we need to do is just use that switch there. I don't think there is one on the other side for that switch. It's just on the left. And that's all good. Now this,
Canopy down and locked, lights out, and stripes aligned.
Yeah, we're just going to move this a little bit down, and so it's about 3 down. It's good, 2 or 3, but definitely 3 is good. And then we've got our taxi lights outside, so that's what the taxi light looks like. Of course, if you hit it to landing light, it's landing light. And then back to taxi. So it's a little bit narrower, like that's the taxi, and then that's the landing. Yeah, it's just a touch brighter, wider in terms of the outlook there. And then so we go for our lights. There's one very interesting one which I'll show you in just a second. Now this fuselage light, you can turn it on to bright, and that gives you these lights underneath, and then you can change it to flashing. That's all, and so it flashes like that. Sort of, I don't know how they're used in real life, but generally I think it's easier just to leave it on that, and if you want to keep it off, that's fine. You can put it on dim. See how it's just dim? That's probably the best looking that I can make it look, just putting it on dim or just leaving it off. These two here for the wings, so that's the wing light. You can see there's nothing. Put it on. There's your wing lights. Now one is dim and one is not, so that's bright. That's dim, sorry, and then that's bright, so it's a little bit brighter. And of course the green one on the other side, we'll just show you. You see how it's really dim, the green on the ground, and then much brighter. So yeah, just pretty much putting that to bright all the time. And then we've got the tail light, so here's the tail light, and then we go and switch that to dim and bright, or we just put it off just to prove that that's the light we're looking at. And then we flick it to the other switch, and so that's the other option. The dim and the bright don't seem very obvious when you zoomed in that close on that one, because it's not reflecting off anything. There's no ground, just the plane itself. And yeah, but that one's not too important, just as long as you've got it on, I guess. And so now the interesting one is if we go down. So you'll need some controls to move yourself around in the cockpit, but if you look under here, you'll notice there is some more lights, and one of them here is a formation light. So this switch, I had to get my head around.
Now, alignment's done.
Yep, cool.
Taxi.
Alignment's done. So the back of this is facing join up, means it's facing join up. So that's how it's aligned. And if you scroll it around the other way, you'll notice the back of this is lined up with off, so that means it's off. So that's how that's working, just back of the switch. So off is when it's off to the right here, and then you spin it around, and when it's up in the top position, it's in join up. So between bright and join up, it gets a little bit brighter. Now you'll notice there's no lights, but if you go to this switch here and right click it, then you get them turned on. So there's one here, one here, one here, and then these 4 ones just on the wings come up, and the same on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just to prove that that's the lights, we'll just turn the brightness. See how the brightness has come down? So yeah, and then we can turn it all the way off with the brightness control, and they're gone. Yeah, so that's what the formation light is. Pretty cool. We'll leave that on because we're in the morning, so we'll just leave it on. And that's that. We're just going to reset our view so that we can get back up to here. Okay, so we're really wanting to test the missiles on this flight. The morning light will just keep coming up. Alignment's complete, so we're just going to do some final checks. We've got our throttle here. We can move the plane now, so there's no problems. And one thing too, if you want to check if the alignment's complete, you can jump into the back and just have a look and see if he's got it on nav. So you can see he switched it to nav now. Green light's gone, it's on nav. But just check where this switch is, basically. I don't know if I can move around in the back cockpit. No, I need different controls for that. But anyway, that's not set up yet. My weapons, so I'm going to put this to direct. I'm going to change that to TV, CW to on, and we'll also go up to here. I'll just hit the L1 for the moment, and we go all the way down to here, and we're trying to change this to TV. So TV mode is selected. Then all the way up to here, reticle, I'm going to make it 45. It says in the truck's guide, as best as I understand. So 45 is the number we'll use. So 45, and then change that to air to ground, and we're all set up. Now this won't release until you hold the trigger button. And also once you've got it open and everything, you can use the trigger button to zoom in and out, which I'll show you. But yeah, that's the other little step. Some other things, we're just going to do this static correction. So just right click 1, 2, 3 and then let go, and it should be gone. Cockpit's closed, so we're pretty good. And our master caution button, we'll just whack that. That's all cleared as well. Okay, so we can put ourselves up into the sky now, I think, in this early morning. But how cool does that cockpit look with the red lighting? Just so cool. And yeah, you can turn it down if you want to. Now you'll notice you can use the dim and the medium now. So if I go and put it on dim, you'll notice the cockpit light switch is very relevant, because now you can actually make this lighting much brighter, and if you turn it all the way, it goes all the way off. So there's that on dim, and then on medium it's just a little bit brighter. You can still see the lighting having an effect, and if you go full bright, it really doesn't have much effect because it's so bright already. You can read everything. But yeah, I reckon either dim or medium is probably what you're going to want to use most of the time, just to take advantage of that cool switch. And then anytime you can't read something, just whack it on that, I guess. The other option is just to turn that off, and then just turn off your lights like that if you want to, and just run it with a more white kind of background. But I can't imagine they did that. I think you're just running the red light until you couldn't see something. So yeah, medium brightness, turn that off, and that's pretty much the ultimate setup. That looks really cool. So yeah, I mean, I want the red lights obviously, and I'm really happy it's got a white light as well, because that's quite helpful, especially when you're learning and you're trying to find stuff. But yeah, we're all good at the moment. Might just turn on the pitot heat. That's the only extra thing. Let's get ourselves into the air. I think we've explained enough to do that. 100% I understand you don't need to hit this switch, so we'll try on this attempt, and I haven't touched it. We won't touch this switch with the Mavericks. I understand you don't need to touch that, but when you're using the other weapons, of course, that becomes relevant. So yeah, we're all set up. That's all we need to do. Let's give it a go. Give ourselves just that little bit of throttle. There's no parking brake, of course, so the plane will move pretty quickly. And then just rudder pedals and a nose wheel steering button. Now it is quite dark, so I'm not sure how I'm going to go navigating, but we'll see how we go. There's our runway and stuff there. But very, very cool looking jet.
Let's make like a tree and get out of here.
It's not so good for YouTube, but when I'm playing, I prefer to play in the dark like this, to really take advantage, especially taking off in the early hours of the morning. So then when you get to your target, you've got all the lovely sunrise. I'm just going to switch this down here, flight director switch to sideways.
So we're going to be picking up a few bug guts on this flight. What do you think?
I was trying to research why I asked this question, but
okay.
It's a unique question. I don't know why I asked that question yet. I was just trying to look it up before I made this video. I was like, oh, I don't know. So anyway, we're going to move along and get ourselves towards this runway. Nicely lined up. Perfect. Okay, so we can do just the last quick check, but we're pretty good. So throttles are on idle, and stabilizer trim. The only last check thing to do, if you can move your view down, and there's a lot of reasons to move the view down, you'll see down here, and it's not lit up, but it says down, flaps down or something. If we have a little look outside, we can see the flaps are down and this is up. So if you wanted to push them up, you could do so. You can see. Now I have noticed that Jester seems to put the flaps up himself, so I don't get to put the flaps up. But yeah, so I've just set it to down, and you can see it says down and down, but it's not very bright. Maybe if I put the light on, you guys can see. Cool. This is what I'm looking at down here. Slats, flaps, down. So it says out and down, and that's all I'm looking at as I hit the switch. And you can also see your gear left, right. This little switch here, you can tell if the gear's down, and you can also tell if the flaps are down, but that's where it is. It's not the easiest place to see. We'll just return our view into the center, and we can turn off that white light, I think. Now we'll keep ourselves in theme for the flight. Okay, so I'll just give ourselves a little bit of throttle. Normally I think you'd speed it up, but I just want to center myself just a little bit more before I start giving ourselves full afterburner. Okay, I'm happy with it. So we'll just put our brakes on. Oh, I lose it as soon as I put the brakes on. That's alright. So we'll go and give ourselves a little bit of throttle. Just check the engines. They're all good. We're about 80 and we let go. We go to full maximum.
Good. Airspeed's coming alive.
And we'll just use the rudder to keep ourselves straight. I'm not using the nose-wheel steering. And then we're going to pull back on the rudder, on the joystick, sorry. We're off. G. And he's going to put...
Gears moving. Flaps up.
That flaps up, see? So he just... I never do anything with the flaps, and he's just done it for me. And then I can bring the throttle back, and we're all good and we're away. So our target is, we're trying to put this at the top, basically. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we look like in the sky, with most of our lights on. The little red glow, but you can see in the cockpit as well. Very cool. I normally swing around left, but I'll try swinging around right this time. And just bringing this towards the top. Boom, and we're heading towards our target, which is all I really need out of a navigation system for practice. Again, this video is not so much a tutorial, so that's why I'm going a little bit quickly, but it is me trying to explain what I'm doing. I did look at the plane early on, and we did air-to-air refueling, but I haven't gone back to do that yet. But I think it would be fun to try at night. I don't know if there's like lighting on the air-to-air refueling part of this, or what with this aircraft. So now I've got to hold down the trigger button to get rid of the cap on the Maverick. So just your first detent on the trigger, and that's not removing for me. So the next thing I need to check is just the master button. So you see this to master, and that's on safe. Sorry, it's on master, it's off safe to arm, and then this says arm. So now I'm going to try the trigger button, and yep, we've got a picture. So now we're going to put reticle or bore sight somewhere near the destination. It doesn't have to be exact, because we can actually move this. So it just has to be somewhere close, which we'll do. And if I can move it left a little bit, that would be even good. Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so we can see the runways out there, and that's the general location I need to fly right now. So now, the only other little thing is I'm just hitting this button, which is the air refueling release button. So you're using this to target the weapon, And then you can move it around with these buttons: the weapon slew, forward hand control, left, right, up and down. So that's how you can move it around. Then once you've found the target, because you have to keep your finger down on this button, the air refueling release button, the whole time. Once you've found the target you want to target, you then release it and it will lock it. Once you've locked it, you can then push this button, the bomb release button. So yeah, so the whole process is you go and hit this air refueling button just straight away. If you've got a switch that you can keep held down on that, it'll be easier than holding it down with your finger. So use that and then move it around a little bit with this. So this is what makes it better than the other weapons, because now you can actually move it around with the weapon slew. Forward hand control, up, down, left and right, and you can do this from the pilot seat. You can also do it from the rear, so if you have a second pilot then that can help you, but otherwise you can just do it yourself. And then once you've found your target and you want to lock it, you've got to release this button, the air refueling release button above it. Just release that, and then once you've released it, and now you have got a lock, and now all you need to do is drop your bomb on him, or your missile, or the Maverick in this case, but we're using the bomb release button. So we're hitting the bomb release button and then it will fire off and you can move away. Now the good thing about this is because you can slew it around, you don't have to be looking at the target the whole time. Just have to be pointed generally in the right direction, and then you can slew this down while you're still flying kind of straight. That's the main advantage that I can see here. So anyway, we'll give it a bit of a go. It is night time, haven't done this before. Let's see how we go. So I'm going to put on the air-to-air refueling button. I'm going to move it down towards the target area. And we don't seem to be able to find where I'm wanting to look at the moment. Here we go. Over here. Now to zoom in, I'm using the trigger button. So to zoom, because you can zoom in crazily. This trigger. So you're using this button, the trigger, full action 2-stage trigger, to 1, remove the cap on the Maverick, and then 2, to use zoom. So yeah, this becomes a zoom button. So that's pretty interesting too. So then I go and hit that, and then you can see it zoomed in a little bit more for me. And now we can look around. I'm also going to try and zoom in here, and then you can use these controls if you want to try and get the contrast difference. And you're just whacking that air refueling button basically, hoping that it can see something. We can see it now. Yep, we got one then. We got one. So now, I just used the air-to-air refueling button, just holding the bomb button. It fires off. Here's our missile. And it's going to go off towards our target. Meanwhile, we can go do something else if we want, but we'll just fly straight for the now. Let's watch our Maverick. Early morning coming up.
Point is updated.
That's good. And there's a target. And we hit our target destroyed, so that was successful. Cool. And we've done that mostly from all in the dark. Takeoff, landing is another thing, but yeah. We got off into the sky there. That's pretty cool. Try and put our wings level. It's a little bit hard for me because I can't even tell where the horizon is here. That looks okay. So we'll head back out. We've got one more on board, so I'm just going to test that I can actually switch to the second one. So So to switch to the second one, I'm taking this one off and I'm clicking R1, but I'm not taking the cap off yet. I think you got 10 minutes, 13 minutes, something like that to get it. I've heard 13 minutes. I don't have the answer on exactly how many minutes, but you don't want to leave the cap off forever and just fly around. I believe it will expire. That's something I need to test though, so I will just go out, take the cap off, fly, and just see how long it lasts. So yeah, the plane's just weighted a little bit to one side at the moment, so I'm just trimming it the other way, but otherwise it's pretty stable. I mean, it flies really nicely. It's in some ways very smooth, but you need to get those curves on. If you don't have any curve on your axis tune, then yeah, I'm using 20. I did show it in the last video, but I'm just using 20. So that's what we're doing. I don't know how much time we're going to need to find a target, but we'll let ourselves go out a little bit. You can see the other runway lit up down there. Just good to see. I mean, don't seem to have the same sort of lighting that they do in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's okay. It's okay for this game. So we're spinning around. I'm going to take the cap off, so I'm pushing the trigger button. Got the cap off, it has worked. Going to point it in our direction generally where the targets are. And then we're going to put on the air-to-air refueling button. And then we're going to use the slew buttons to move it around. Then this is the carb part. So then I'm going to hit the trigger button again to try and zoom in. And now we're looking for a target. So you got two controls really. One is the plane and one is the seeker head. I did get it then. So you can see when it looks like that, you can start to get your locks. I might need another attempt here because I'm taking too long. We got a lock and I'm going to hit fire. We'll see how that goes. I don't think you can turn that quickly. Nah. It'll miss. 100% that will miss. So anyway, understood that I got the lock. Just would have been better to wait. But that's okay. We achieved the purpose. The main thing was just a test I could get the cover off. So we'll fly it back, land it, and then we are done on this attempt. Pretty cool. I can't land there because I did make it a red base and it's also full of enemies. And they're all over the runway. So I'm not going to be able to land there, but we're just landing up to this other airport. We're on the Syria map. I was trying to use the Afghanistan map, but I'm having all sorts of problems on the Afghanistan map just getting them to take the chocks off. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah. If they can't do that, then it's just a bit difficult. So where's our throttle going at the moment? Oh, fuel flow is way too high. So we could have turned down the fuel flow. We can turn off the master. and I still haven't quite worked out how to land. I wonder if there is enough instructions in here for me to work it out in the time I have at the moment. Crew Chief Jester Systems, normal procedures. Didn't know about that. But there is a manual, and you can hit M for the manual and bring it up. And then to get rid of it, I was finding quite problematic. So the best I can do is just take it away at the moment. There we go. Cool. It's gone. It takes a little while to disappear, or it just doesn't sometimes disappear. But other than that, it's okay. Definitely worth putting in the game. So we're going to bring speed down to idle. I believe you can't bring the gear out until you're about 200. So, yeah. I'm not going to be able to achieve that. I need to spend a bit longer on the research for the landing, but I'll just put up the status bar at the bottom so we can see what's going on. Run idle. I'll try and bring my flaps out because I need anything I can to slow ourselves down. And I'm not sure if this has air brakes, but that would be helpful if it did. There's our runway, and then the other thing which I know is certainly the parachute, which seems to be quite useful on this aircraft. There's all our lighting to get early morning here. Leave our view around there. Because it almost wants to fall out of the sky once you're this low with the fuel flow. Just telling me wheels, we'll bring the gear out, but just waiting to get a little bit closer. And we'll bring our gear out. And if I can, I'll just tap up my view. So yeah, if you've worked out how to get on to speed with this plane, it seems to be quite a difficult one at the moment. Because of the fact it just wants to fall out of the sky, so I just seemingly can't let it go that slow.
Alright, gear, flaps, pressure, warning lights, and anti-skid.
Great. And then I'm just gone to idle, and I'm just burning off whatever I can before we touch the ground. And then we're down.
Your landing today was as sweet as PB&J.
And we've got the parachute out, but that's not going to get any better. As we're not on the runway. Cool, we made it to the taxiway. We'll just quickly get rid of this, and then that, and then we'll turn our two engines off. Open the canopy, and then we can jump out. Awesome. So what a cool little plane. But the main objective here was just to get those missiles on target, and we did that, and we're back on the ground. So that's pretty cool. Excellent, thank you for watching. Early morning little flight here in the F-4 Phantom. Very fun plane. Definitely got to get that landing under control, but this whole mission was to get the Mavericks and also to do a cold and dark start in the dark. So we've managed to do that. So that's good. keep learning. Check out Chuck's guide. It is just released, so there's a lot of useful information now. I'll certainly be looking at that immediately now. Thank you for watching.